Hello guys, Green here, and welcome to Chapter 4 of Her Lie I Tried to Believe. Now, this game deals with a lot of very, very dark topics, and I'm not sure where this chapter is going. Each chapter it's basically got progressively worse in how dark and confronting it is, so I'm honestly not sure what's going to happen anymore. So, if you're sort of going through a rough time right now, or you're someone who can't deal with sort of dark stuff very well, please don't watch this for your own safety. I've provided links in the description below for you to check out if you want, of some of my videos which I consider good, funny videos, if there's any of those that are made by me. But, jeez, alright. Time to dive into a hellhole of pain, suffering, and darkness. I don't remember much that night, or maybe I just don't want to remember. The only thing I can say for sure is that there was something I found out about myself on that day. Something that I probably shouldn't have. As I was about to leave the hotel, it must have been around 5 AM the next morning, Cassandra stopped me casually and said, "I want you to come back see me next week, alright?" My reply to that was, "Not a chance, idiot." She flashed me a smile nonetheless. I wonder if she knew. I wonder if she already knew she already had me. After that, I met with her on the same day, once a week. We would drink together at that bar she's working at, and we would always finish the night at the same hotel right after. Must have been around the third week that I finally decided to ask about it. She was speaking to me at great length, like always, just after having sex. I was sitting on the corner of the bed listening to her half-heartedly, while sucking on a cigarette. Yeah, I was a smoker by then. I took the habit out of nowhere, probably to look even more pathetic than I already was. "We should go see it together. They say it's the movie of the decade." "Shut up," I said to her briskly in reply, yet, "I wonder if you'd pay for my entry fee? I bet you would, you're the type of man after all." She was laughing and smiling like always. I first thought she would stop acting this way the moment she finally showed me her true self, but she betrayed my expectation. She's exactly the same whether we're alone or not. The only time when she behaves differently is when we're having sex. She would fixate me, always with those eyes, with a frightening passion. Normally I'm the only one who's cold and violent, but when we're having sex, she could very well be as disturbed as I am. I wondered then why she was always smiling. Was it fake or was it not? Even I, who knew her better than anyone else, have no clue. How can someone as empty as a smile so thoroughly like this? I badly want to know, but why? Why was I even involving myself with the likes of her? It's not like my feelings had changed all of a sudden. I'm still very much hated the thing she is. I didn't understand myself anymore. Still, I needed to know. So without thinking much, I asked her for the first time since almost forever. I asked her something I wish I hadn't. "Why did you end up this way?" She was surprised, obviously. I had disturbed her while she was speaking, but her surprise didn't come from that fact. She looked at me and smiled at me silently for a time, but not with that smile. A smile as though she had won something. A smile as though there was hope somewhere somehow. She was genuinely happy, I think. Or maybe there was something with that smile that I didn't understand back then. All I knew was that she was waiting for that question. So she told me her tale, some stereotypical bullshit I didn't want to hear. Her father had a lot of money when she was younger. He was some sort of successful businessman or investor or whatever. I didn't listen all that well, to be honest, but he enough to get by was the term she used, whatever she meant. And in the 5th grade, out of nowhere, Cassandra started showing interest in her studies, so much so that she was the top of her class every following year. Seeing her growing up to become such an outstanding woman, her father decided to invest in her by starting to pay for her later education, some kind of prestigious university or something like that. Didn't even know you could pay for such a thing so early in the game. Anyway, now for the plot twist. Her father pretty much lost everything by trying to invest in some real estate market bullshit. Wrong time, wrong place, that's what they always say. So sure enough, now that he is poor as shit, he started thinking about the investment he made on his daughter. The problem is, such an investment takes a really long time to pay off. That and the fact that it's your fucking daughter, you piece of shit. She deserves at least that much. But anyway, he kind of started mistreating her by blaming his sorry ass on her failure to graduate sooner. And by that time, the fucker got his feet even dirtier by gambling away the little he had to subsist. So in the end, drumroll, she was forced to quit school and started working. At least the good man who her father owed money to was kind enough to show her a high-paying job she literally couldn't refuse. And that's pretty much it. Now for a test of my fucking conscience. If I hadn't started forcing my ideal of rivalry upon her, would she still have ended up like this? Better yet, even if she did, couldn't I have done something for her? I mean, in high school I kinda had noticed something was strange, but did nothing nonetheless. So is this my fault? Maybe, and so what? It didn't affect me in the slightest. Not in the slightest. Yet, I still wish I hadn't asked her this. One of the last things he was always saying to me before he died was, "You're the golden egg that never hatched." The definition of useless. I get up from the bed. I need to go now, I said, though I didn't really need to. That fast? But I want to be with you, and you paid for the whole night, and she was sulking, puffing her cheeks like a child. If I weren't an arsehole, I'd probably have found her behaviour cute, but my only thought to that was, "You're disgusting." I took my keys on the coffee table and left, her words still hanging. "You come back next week. Thursday, right?" Closing the door behind me, I stayed there for a time motionless. My hands were clenched tightly in the form of a fist. I was frustrated for some reason. If I had stayed for a minute longer, those fists would have probably been thrown at her. Fuck. I had a hard time understanding myself. If it hurts me so much staying around her, why was I always coming back to this place? Am I yearning for this? This pitiful excuse for a relationship? I had a vague idea as for the reason behind my illogical behavior, but I didn't think it was true. Because this would mean my whole life was even more of a joke than I first thought it was. Whew. Okay. Glad it didn't quite dive like a lot further than the last two did, because man, those just went real quick, and this was actually quite a short one. So I think, I don't know, I'm nervous. Each new chapter is like, okay, is it going to become even more darker, even more horrible? We're going to experience more of these people's lives? I don't know. But, as always, I will see you next time. Bye.